Welcome to another Unbox and Swatch video. Today we are going to be looking at the Winsor Newton set of 14 half pans in both the professional watercolor versus the Cotman watercolors and see how they set up side by side together. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see future unbox and swatches. The first thing I'm going to do is open up this professional set. So again, these are sets of 14 half pans, and we can just take a quick look at the box here. See what comes inside. All right, so we've got some paperwork. This is a color chart of the colors available in the artist line of professional watercolors. And then we have our set here, which is taped. Okay, let's put that on the bottom there. Alrighty, and then inside our set, we've got our colors laid out. This is a little side tray that you can use for water mixing or dipping. That goes flat, and then this gets pulled down for even a larger mixing area and a place to hold it. And like so many of these sets, it comes with a little brush. It's great if it's your only option, but having a travel brush or just a water brush to take with you is very convenient as well. But you know, in a pinch, this can make art. It is a sable brush. So let's put this down, and now we're going to open up this Cotman version. So these are all professional watercolors, all right? The Cotman is going to be the economy grade, which means a lot of the expensive pigments, such as cadmiums and whatnot, will be replaced with hues instead. This will also mean that the set will be less expensive overall. So now we have our other set. This has the list of the Cotman colors. As you can see, the student grade or the economy range is a little bit more limited. You're not going to find you know, any actual cadmiums or cobalts. They're all going to be hues, and they're going to be substitute pigments. But in terms of how they perform and lay down, that will be, you know, the interesting thing to see in the swatching. But it is a single price point paint, like many student grades, so they will all be nice and even. And as you can see, the box it comes in is identical to what you get in the professional. There is a brush in here. This one does not say pure sable like the other one does, but there is another little brush. We also have our little tray there. And this pulls down for more mixing areas, and you can hold it. So you can put this on either side if you actually want it to be completely identical, but I think you understand the point. So what we're going to do now is put these two sets together, and we're going to swatch them. They're lemon yellow for their lemon yellow hue, and so on and so forth, and see how the two of them set up next to each other. So before we get started, now that we've kind of in depth gone through these, I do want to correct something that I said earlier. These colors are not identical one-to-one. There are similarities. So for example, this is a lemon yellow, this is a lemon yellow hue. We'll put those side by side, but some of these colors are not. So for example, over here, I believe this is like a burnt umber, where in the professional set, we have an ivory black. So we have our professional watercolors up here, our Cotman watercolors down here. Some of them are meant to match. I also believe that everything in this row is. So I think this is like probably an ultramarine blue and an ultramarine blue, which I'd be curious about because it's probably the same pigment, but it might just be made a little differently for the student grade. So we'll see that when we lay them side by side. right, so we've just done our first comparison shot, and what I want to just kind of point out, because this is the actual lemon yellow and this is the lemon yellow hue. Coming out of the pan, I felt like this lifted easier, the Winsor Newton Professional, than the Cotman. But obviously on paper, the Cotman, at least to me, looks a lot more vibrant. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that vibrancy in terms of how the color lays down on its own is one thing, but it's quite different when it's mixed, and its mixing properties do change. So we will be doing videos to follow up with these unbox and swatches called After the Swatch, where we actually do a piece of artwork using all the things that we looked at today, so you can see better how it performs. But let's just continue on and see how they keep going. All right, now we're going to go a little bit off the pattern we've been doing of professional watercolor to Cotman, professional to Cotman. I'm going to be putting down two colors that are not the same, an ivory black and I think a burnt umber, and then two Chinese whites, which will probably not show up anyway, but just to complete our box and swatch, I'll be doing those on the side here, but we'll kind of just keep those as a side note, as an anomaly where it doesn't continue with the pattern. Okay, so just so that you guys can see it kind of cleanly at home, what we'll do is we're just going to kind of block this row so that you can't see it, and then we're just going to show the professional colors. So we're going to be blocking this row, and this row, so you can see all of the professional colors lined up. And now we're going to flip that so you can see the student grade, the Cotman, as the comparison, okay? Not all of these colors are exactly the same, so it's unfair to say like, well, look at how great that purple is compared to this one. Obviously, this is a dioxide violet, this is more of a magenta, so I'm not going to, nitpick about that. In fact, there's a lot of vibrant colors on both sides. However, the colors that are the same, or supposed to be the same, for example, our ultramarine blue here, this is our professional, this is our Cotman. Now, it's most likely the exact same pigment, literally the exact same pigment. What made this one more richer and deeper and more saturated? Well, A is pigment load. There's probably more pigment in that watercolor block and less filler. And B, the other thing is that the student grades are not always ground to the same degree of specification as a professional color. The more you grind colors, the more vibrant they get, and each color requires a different amount of grinding. So most likely for a student grade, they use a uniform grinding to keep it all quick and easier to make, but it's still the same pigment. Where in some of these other cases, these are different pigments being used. For example, that lemon yellow hue. But the colors are nice. These are just two different price points. Both can work for you. And as I mentioned earlier, what we're going to do is we're going to post some videos showing these sets in action to see what kind of art they create and how some of these colors mix. Now I'm going to do two different sets here. We're going to have our Cotman set, which is our lower price point watercolor set. That's going to include this Aqua Reflections book. It's a watercolor, 140-pound watercolor cold press paper, and has the pocket in the back and a little water brush to go with that. And that'll be your art set. And I'm also going to include in this one our super black fine lettering and calligraphy set. These are really great, especially these, in my opinion, nib types for urban sketching. So that's set number one with the Cotman. And then with this artist set over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to include that same reflections journal that you just saw, okay? But instead of the Aquastroke Go, I'll be putting in these really nice Mimic Kolinsky travel brushes. As I was saying earlier, I was using a Mimic Kolinsky brush to do these swatches. This is simply a travel version of it. And you can see you can get a size 2, 6, 8, all the way up to a size 12 in these. They're built very well. They're going to stay together. Feels nice in your hand. Beautiful. So if you're thinking about getting yourself a high-end set, or maybe giving a high-end present to a professional artist, I think this will be a great little collection of watercolor brushes and a book. So be sure to check out the after the swatch videos that we create so you can see some of this stuff put in action and make artwork. Please be sure to ring the bell to be notified when we post future videos. Subscribe to our channel and like the video if this is helpful. Thanks so much.